All right, we'll get started at 6:05 as promised. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us to learn more about the Lincoln Road Phase 2 improvements. Welcome. We are very excited to get started with this project. We know that it's long awaited in the community, and we're excited to make these improvements to the Lincoln Road Business District. I would like to acknowledge our elected officials that are on this evening. We have Jacqueline with Kristen Rosen Gonzalez's office, Commissioner Magazine and his aide Isabella Gomez, Mayor Minor and Deputy Chief of Staff Blake Govin. And if I miss anyone, I'm just going to take a quick second if you could raise your hand because there's a lot of names that I'm looking into. Thank you for being here and listening in tonight on this important project. For those of you I haven't gotten to meet yet, my name's Lauren Fertel. I'm your South Beach Neighborhood Affairs Manager, and I'm happy to be working on this project as a connection between the Public Information Outreach team and the team with the city and the project. Speaking of the project team, I will introduce them briefly. Your presenters tonight will be Mike Abate with Field Operations. Ivan Busto is with Buzlum. They're the contractor on this project. Maria Larrazabal is your public information liaison on this project with Infinite Source Communications. And Ariel Guitan and Pune Raji, I apologize if I pronounced the last name wrong, are leading the project from the Capital Improvement Projects office. We will together try to have a concise meeting tonight so that everyone can cheer on the Panthers once the meeting is over. And we look forward to getting started. Ariel, if you'd like to say a few words to introduce the project overview and explain phase 2. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to provide you just an overall project overview, like Lauren said, but I just want to really state that finally this project is getting going after so many years, and we can actually say that in a few weeks we'll have shovels in the ground. So excited to say that for the whole city. A few years ago, the city embarked on the Lincoln Road Improvement Project, which goes from or encompasses from Lenox Avenue east to Washington Avenue, and it also includes the bowlers on Washington Avenue and Alton Road. And it also includes the connectors, which is Meridian Avenue from Lincoln Road to 17th Street, and the pedestrianization of Drexel Avenue from Lincoln Lane South approximately north to Lincoln Lane North. And the from 16th Street to Lincoln Lane South will be the improvements to the road. A few years ago, the city decided to break the project into phases. Phase 1 was the lighting improvements, which has already occurred it's already been completed. We changed the LED lights to LED lights. Phase 2, which is Drexel and Meridian, and phase 3, which is the Lincoln Road corridor. This back in early of 2024, we bid both or advertised both projects, both Drexel and Meridian together, and that when we received the bids, we're over the budget. So we decided to bifurcate both connectors into Drexel and Meridian. We did get obviously we got 2 bids, and fortunate enough that both bids were the lowest bidder. Responsive bidder was Buslam Construction. We are happy to team up with them to do both projects. And so the presentation today is basically going to be focused on Drexel Avenue itself. Meridian Avenue, because of lead time items and materials that it's gonna take us a few more months, probably approximately 3 to 4 more months to start. That'll be starting towards the October, fall of this year. And phase 3 is currently under bid. Currently in permitting. I apologize, is in permitting now. So that being said, I'll turn it over to Mike from the consultant, James Cornerfield, so he can continue with the presentation.
Thanks, Ariel. My name is Mike Abate. I'm from Field Operations. We are the design lead and landscape architects on the project, and tonight I'll be giving you a brief overview of the project itself. So as we move into our first slide here, Ariel touched on some of this a little bit to begin with here. The entire scope of the project includes Lincoln Road from Washington to Lenox Avenues. Ariel touched on phase one, which included upgrades to all the light posts along the corridor that has already been completed. And phase three, which will include upgrades along that corridor, which again, as Ariel mentioned, is currently under permitting. Tonight, again, we're focused on phase two, which includes the gateway streets of Meridian and Drexel Avenues, and more specifically, Drexel Avenue itself. This slide here, we talk a little bit about these two connector streets and how they really facilitate north-south connections and drawing people to Lincoln Road itself, right? They have great connections to a lot of the existing attractions within the area, such as New World Center, Soundscape Park, Pride Park, and the Convention Center, so on and so forth. So we really see these streets as, crucial upgrades to help draw folks to and from Lincoln Road itself. As we move to the next slide, we'll see what those visions for those streets could look like, right? On the left-hand side, you see Meridian Avenue, on the top, the existing conditions, and on the bottom, what our vision for Meridian Avenue will look like in the future, as well as on the right-hand side, Drexel Avenue itself today on the top, and our proposed conditions there on the bottom right side. As we jump to the next slide, one thing to note, as Ariel mentioned, while Drexel Avenue construction will kick off here soon, due to some material procurement items that have a little bit longer lead time, we'll be looking at mobilization for the construction of Meridian Avenue later on in the fall of this year. As we move to the next slide, we've outlined a couple of challenges that we've encountered along Drexel itself. I'm sure many of you have experienced them yourselves today, whether it be the lack of shade, a little bit ambiguous vehicular circulation or narrow sidewalks. Our proposed design aims to solve those challenges and more. As we move to the next slide, you'll see the list of just a few brief, bullet points of things that we're implementing to help address those challenges and provide a better, quality public space. Ariel mentioned we will be pedestrianizing Drexel Avenue from approximately Lincoln Lane South northward to Lincoln Lane North. We're adding a bunch of new canopy trees and palms, as well as additional plant beds throughout the area. We've added new areas for sidewalk cafe seating. We're upgrading all the paving and lighting, and we're creating an outdoor performance space at the intersection of Lincoln Road. As we move to the next slide, we see our first kind of overview of the scope of Drexel Avenue itself, right? You have 16th Street on the left-hand side of your screen and Lincoln Lane North on the right-hand side of your screen. One of the first things you'll notice is the clear division of circulation from vehicular to pedestrian. And what I mean by that is you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, as we move towards the middle of the screen, we've introduced a vehicular roundabout. And what this aims to do is provide very clear distinction between vehicular circulation and pedestrian circulation. Everything from the roundabout headed to the right-hand side of your screen will be pedestrianized, and everything on the left-hand side of your screen still supports vehicular traffic, such as box trucks that exist for certain deliveries and things that take place today. Moving to the next slide, we'll take a little bit of a closer look at that southern portion, that the tabled intersection or tabled roundabout, excuse me, under number one. Parking is not permitted here. This is strictly for vehicle drop-off, turnaround, so on and so forth. Under number one. Under number two, you'll see the beginnings of what we're calling the Drexel Gardens, which we'll touch on a little bit more on the next slide. But before we get there, we also want to make note of items 3 and 4, which are retention of existing parking, on-street parking under number 3, and of course the retention of existing cafe seating areas under number 4, delineated by those those pink rectangles on the screen. Moving to the next slide, we'll take a closer look at the northern portion of Drexel Avenue. Which, as you can see here, again, on the left-hand side of your screen is that tabled vehicular turnaround. And again, at this point where we start, as we head from left to right, begins the pedestrianization of Drexel Avenue. So under number 2, you have Drexel Gardens, as we're calling it. You can see a number of added canopy trees, planters, and as well as under numbers 4 and 5, whether it be existing or newly proposed areas dedicated for cafe seating. Continuing to move towards the right-hand side of the screen under number 3, this is the intersection of Lincoln Road and Drexel. You'll see what we're calling Drexel Square. This is a large plaza, including seating steps that will support a number of performances and other programmed events here at the intersection of Lincoln Road and Drexel. And then again, as you continue to head northward or towards the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see more dedicated spaces for outdoor cafe seating. As we move to the next slide, we're going to close out the design portion of the presentation with a series of a few renderings. So here you can see the existing conditions from Lincoln Lane North facing south towards Lincoln Road. And you can see, kind of the before and after, really emphasizing in the middle of your screen, the Drexel Square with the plaza space, seating steps on the left-hand side, and really what that space might begin to feel like. As we move to the next slide, we see a view from Drexel Gardens facing north towards Lincoln Road itself and Drexel Square, again, that plaza space. You'll note a number of the new planters in the foreground, as well as the cafe seating on the left-hand side of your screen. And of course, all of the lush planting, trees, additions of palms, things of that nature that will help to provide great shade to the space. As we move to the next slide, we get a view from what would be the seating steps at Drexel Plaza, looking towards the existing architectural folly that's on site today. And this is what we envision, a performance might look like in the space itself. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ivan Busto, who will be discussing an overview of the construction for the project.
Thank you very much, Mike. Hello, everyone. My name is Ivan. I am the owner of the construction company that's going to be overseeing this project. And today I want to give you a brief presentation of what the construction portion of the project is going to look like in the future. On the next slide, we will be looking at the different stages that we're going to carry on during the construction. The point of carrying on the stages is to minimize pedestrian impediment or business impediment throughout the construction process. So we want to have a constant circulation for pedestrians and the businesses in order to affect as little as possible. On the first picture at the top, you can see the purple squares. Those are the staging areas for the construction. Those are going to be fenced in construction work areas. You can see that there's one from Lincoln Lane South to Lincoln Road, and then in Drexel Avenue from Lincoln Lane North to Drexel. The green squares that you see is pretty much the pedestrian circulation throughout this phase, this stage of the project. The green on the left-hand side, 16th Street work, this is going to be signalization work that's going to be happening throughout the project. That work is going to be done with localized enclosures, trying to minimize traffic affection. And then as we move on to the second picture, the one in the middle, you'll see that we extend on stage 2 to the east side of Drexel Avenue from 16th Street to Lincoln Lane South. On the blue square that you see there, we're going to be working on the sidewalk and half of the street. We're going to be temporarily blocking those parking spaces at that time, but while work takes place. And then we move on to stage 3 of the project, which is the bottom picture. And in that picture, you can see that both the purple and the blue have been removed from Lincoln Road. At that point, we expect these portions of the project to be open so we can start working on the other portions of the improvements that we kept that we didn't work on in the past in order to keep that pedestrian circulation. Most of the work that's going to be happening in these portions is going to be localized enclosures, again, trying to minimize affections to any of the neighbors or businesses. The point of this staging is to keep constant access for all businesses and residences, and for obviously visitors that are coming in to visit the Lincoln Road. If we go to the next slide. I want to talk a little bit about the construction time frame. So the construction start date for this portion of the project, Drexel Avenue, is going to be June 23rd, 2025. Our working hours are gonna be Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Weekends and holidays will be worked as needed, and you'll get prior notice before we work weekends and holidays, if that. And then the project duration would be approximately 300 calendar days, which is about 7 to 8 months. If we go to the next slide, please. How will business and residents be supported during the construction? Well, we expect to maintain businesses open throughout the construction and access to businesses throughout the construction. We're gonna be providing regular construction updates through your PIO officers. We're gonna deliver deliveries access on Lincoln Lane North only in this stage of the project, since we are gonna be closing Drexel Avenue for vehicular access now and in the future. And obviously residential access on Drexel will remain open at all times. And so will access to the alleys around the businesses there. And any questions or anything you need will be with your PIO officer, who I will be introducing now. If we go to the next slide, please. So Maria is your PIO officer, and she's gonna be walking you through communication outreach and other items. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ivan. Good evening, everybody. I'm Maria Larrazabal. I am your Public Information Officer for the Lincoln Road Business District Improvement Project. Stakeholder coordination and business outreach has begun already for this project. And actually, we've held a couple of one-on-one meetings with property owners as well as tenants located at Drexel Avenue and Lincoln Road that will experience the majority of the construction right in front of them. There will be ongoing outreach throughout the entire construction. You will receive updates either via email, or if we have to connect on a more personal basis, I'll reach out to establish a direct meeting or provide a site visit and a walkthrough of the construction. What we're hoping to do here is minimize disruption as much as possible to not only businesses and tenants, but also residents along Drexel Avenue, and maintain business operations functional and open throughout the entirety of the construction. So again, I am your point of contact and your direct lead for any questions, inquiries, or concerns for the project. I am your go-to for the project team as well as the contractor. My contact information is up here. Again, Maria Larrazabal. There's my email and my direct cell phone for anything you need. If you can't reach me right away, then you can also reach out to the South Beach Neighborhood Affairs Manager, Lauren Fertel, who's actually leading the meeting tonight. And there's her contact information as well as her city's direct line. With that, I'll hand it back over to Lauren and we'll open the Q&A session.
Thank you, Maria. And again, thank you everyone for staying on and learning about the project. Just a few housekeeping items. We do prefer if everyone can keep their comments and questions to 2 minutes. For those of you that are interested in speaking, if you can raise your hand. And with that, there should be a hand icon on the bottom of your screen, or if you're on a phone or iPad, there may be 3 dots for you to press, and then there's a raise your hand option. I will take any questions and answers in the order they come in. And to answer a question that came in via the chat, we are recording this call. You should have gotten that message on your Zoom screens when you signed on. And we will be posting this on the project page on the website, which is available as a reference for everyone after the meeting, probably tomorrow. Okay, our first person with their hand up. The name is Association Academy. If you could introduce yourself.
Hi there. Sorry, this is Chris from Jefferson and 18th Street. And I'm curious.
Neighborhood.
Yes, the Palmview neighborhood. And we're very excited to see improvements on Lincoln Road and excited for this project to start. Could you just refresh me on what the expense was for this particular phase that's beginning right now, what the cost is from the city?
Ariel, can
cost-
you,
The bid for this one came in at 13 million, 14, roughly $14 million. Is that what you're asking for regarding the bid or the actual component for the actual project itself as the city budget?
I think it's the bid. So we're expected to pay $13 million for this improvement, and that is just the phase that's initiating right now. Is that correct?
That is correct. There's that, and then the way the city does it is that we break it up. We also include project contingency, so their overall contract is roughly about 15.2, somewhere along there.
Got it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
okay, I'll move on. Marilyn,
Hi, I'm the store
Hi.
manager of the Ray-Ban store on the corner of Drexel. And my main concern is the traffic coming on Lincoln Road. Like, are we gonna have like a pedestrian alley or something for them to cross Lincoln Road to get to us?
Yeah.
That's my main concern because that's really gonna disrupt our business, especially if this is gonna be for 8
we
months.
are maintaining pedestrian mobility on the road, both north and south and east and west. Ariel
Yep.
or Ivan, would you like to elaborate on that?
No, I'll take it. Maria, can you put up the construction side, the phasing that Ivan spoke about earlier? So yeah, so she can visualize what we're trying to say. Okay, so if you can see the screen right now, in the Drexel Avenue in the northeast, in the north-south direction, the sidewalk along the east side of Drexel will always be open. As you can see, that is shaded in the green area. The cross between the east-west direction from the beach to the west side will always be maintained on the north side of Lincoln Road.
Okay, sorry, I'm not really great at reading this.
No
So
problem.
if you can point to where am I? Where is the Ray-Ban store?
Okay, so we're the cursor. If you could put the cursor, Maria, in the north, in the east-west direction. No, the other one on the Lincoln Road corridor we had before. Now go a little more to the right. I don't know if you see my cursor. It's right there. No,
Oh.
the other one. No,
Okay.
the other one that goes up and down on the page there between the two purple ones.
I think Ivan just circled where the Ray-Ban store is.
Okay, perfect. And so my concern is coming from say Meridian. If you're walking from Meridian and you're going towards Washington, is there going to be a pathway for them to cross at Drexel?
And what Ariel was saying is the part that is green in the map that you're looking at around the purple is the work zone. So it will
Okay.
be blocked off by a fence. The green
There you
is a
go.
pedestrian path.
Okay, perfect. So
That's
people are going to be able
as
to
if
walk
we were
all the
right
way
there.
from Meridian on Lincoln Road.
Yes,
And be
it
able to
won't
cross
be as
over
wide as it
Drexel.
is today, but it
Right.
will be an open path.
Okay,
Correct.
perfect. So they're not gonna have to go around to
No.
to Washington to come
No,
to
no, no.
us. Okay,
You
perfect.
will always have an east-west open access on where it's going to be on the north side for people to walk across.
Perfect. Okay, that was my main concern because I think Maria, you visited us a few weeks ago, and I maybe I heard wrong. I thought you said they would have to go through Drexel and then go over and around to Washington to come back to us. So as long as there's a path, I'm feel a lot more relieved.
No, sorry for
and-
the miscommunication, but what I meant was this actually, that they would just have to come over on the undress side and then walk over across and over to you.
Perfect.
And please be in touch with Maria next week, or myself, once the construction zone is set up. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them, and work with the contractor if there's anything that needs to be coordinated.
Great, thank you.
David with New World Symphony.
Yes, I can hear me okay.
I can, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this presentation. It's really exciting to see this finally getting kicked off. New World worked with the James Corner Group and the city staff, seems like a decade ago, specifically focused on the sort of the performance square and especially connections to Soundscape Park, which is obviously very important for us. Perhaps this is a request for maybe an offline meeting with Maria or some of the principals involved in this project. We spent a lot of time discussing sort of a plug and play scenario, the infrastructure that would be put into that square so that artists don't have to be hauling all sorts of equipment every time they want to set up a pop-up performance or a scheduled performance, whether it's New World or another entity or another artist. We'd love to find out what sort of survived the whole process in the intervening time since this was designed. So if I could request a meeting on behalf of New World to go over that, that would be appreciated.
Definitely, David. We'll get something scheduled.
Do that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I want to get Mike when he's done here. We'll go ahead and have that meeting when you're back down here in South Florida.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
And speaking of New World Symphony, there's also a question in the chat that I think field operations can answer for the
Yeah.
performance space.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I
go
think,
ahead.
David, that kind of piggybacks off of your question as well. And what I would say is certainly we can still meet and discuss it together. But what I would say is, in short, that has been accounted for. We do have a company switch planned for this area just for that exact purpose, so that artists and performers do not have to lug, unnecessary equipment, all over the place with them. So that has been factored into the design.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I don't see any other hands, but usually when we say that, a few more hands get raised. So if there are any final questions, please raise your hand or type them into the chat so that we can address them. Yes, the presentation and the recording of tonight's meeting will be posted on the website. And we will share that with everybody. And if there aren't any other questions, thank you all for joining us this evening. We kept our promise of a concise meeting, and go Panthers.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, good job. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Good night.